Origins of Armadillo. Armadillo is a slow-witted man tricked into an inhuman form. He is a criminal by circumstance with few other options in front of him. Antonio Rodrigues was a small-time crook and had a short stay in a federal penitentiary. When he returned home, Antonio found his wife Bonita had fallen ill. His wife was stricken with an unknown disease and she was stricken with paralysis. Bonita was given certain treatments but none of them did any good. Their savings began to run out and some doctors refused to see her. The ones that agreed to see her said Bonita's paralysis was incurable. Antonio refused to accept that and sought out help from an experimental medical scientist named Dr. Carl Malus. Malus agreed to cure his wife but Antonio told him that they had no more money and had no way to pay him. Malus told Antonio that he could pay for his wife's treatment by working for him. Antonio agreed to become a test subject for a process called gene splicing, and when he woke up, Malus had changed him into a human armadillo. Malus had a specific assignment for Armadillo which would lead him into conflict with Captain America at the West Coast Avengers facility. Captain America kicked Armadillo into a secret trapdoor and he was caught in a giant net. Armadillo told Captain America he had to retrieve the villain Goliath from the Avengers compound or he would no longer have the finances needed to cure his wife. Captain America agreed to help Antonio and showed him the unconscious body of Goliath, but he was stuck at his 50-foot height. Malus provided Armadillo with a capsule of shrinking solution but the contents had evaporated during his encounter with Captain America. The Avenger told Antonio to return to Dr. Malus and ask for more shrinking potion. Captain America had secretly followed Armadillo so he could lead him to Dr. Malus. Captain America was going to make a citizen's arrest but Armadillo pleaded with him to not take Malus away because he was the only man that can cure his wife. Captain America did not take Malus away but he told authorities about his operation. Dr. Malus dealt with the authorities but was able to cure Bonita's paralysis, which made Armadillo extremely happy. Armadillo joined Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation after his wife was cured and became a well-known star. Armadillo wanted to earn enough money through wrestling so he can find a way to become human again and have a normal life with his wife Bonita. Steve Rogers went to see Armadillo's match at Madison Square Garden with Bernie Rosenthal, Clint Barton, and Bobby Morse. Rogers wanted to congratulate Armadillo after he defeated his opponent, Doc Sawbones. However, Rogers saw Armadillo's wife in the arms of another man when he entered Armadillo's locker room. Captain America excused himself and congratulated Armadillo when he saw him in his room. He was introduced to Bonita but did not tell Armadillo about his wife's affair. Rogers left and met with the rest of his party for dinner in the village. Rogers heard from a radio that Armadillo was on a destructive rampage on 34th Street. Rogers changed into Captain America and tried to talk to Armadillo. Armadillo found out that his wife was cheating on him and was lashing out to dull the pain he was feeling inside. A brief scuffle ensued and Armadillo began to scale the Empire State Building during the fight. Captain America pursued him but Armadillo jumped off the building when Hawkeye and Mockingbird came to the scene. Armadillo tried to commit suicide but his powerful armor saved him. Armadillo was treated for his injuries and taken into police custody. Armadillo was being held in the vault until several superpowered criminals escaped. Mr. Hyde, Titania, and Vibro broke free from their cells and Armadillo tried to tag along. Titania punched Armadillo and told Hyde that Armadillo would have slowed them down. Armadillo climbed up the elevator shaft and wanted to escape to see if his wife Bonita was still faithful to him. The rest of the criminals were apprehended by Rogers, D-Man, Falcon and Nomad while Armadillo entered their van being driven by Vagabond. She was able to talk Armadillo into turning himself in and he realized the shame in what he was going to do. Acts of Vengeance. The Wizard is placed in the vault after the Frightful Four are defeated by the Fantastic Four. While in his cell, a mysterious man appears in front of the wizard and offers him a chance to leave in exchange for a certain favor. The wizard agrees and his power suit is returned to him. The wizard is confronted by the guardsman, but he easily defeats him and reaches an access port to the control panel where he opens all the cells inside the vault. Several guardsmen respond to the cell break and find the wizard alongside Armadillo, Scarecrow, Electro, and Mr. Hyde. Armadillo would end up back in the streets and work as a street fighter for a fight promoter named Ray Trueno. Mr. Trueno runs this underground fighting league and wanted Armadillo to take them to the next level, but his coach named Caddy was worried that Antonio has hit a wall. Trueno liked Armadillo because everyone was betting against him and he kept winning his fights, so that kept the cash flow coming. However, he was worried about Armadillo's mental state and complaints of too many fights in 1 month. Trueno and Coach Caddy started looking at an ex-con named Daniel Oxum, who was better known as the super criminal battler, to possibly replace Antonio. A match was set between the two and Oxum beat the Dillo in the ring to become the new regional champion. Oxum would see Dillo outside his locker room a few weeks later dressed as a bum and asking for spare change. Armadillo was a washed-up fighter and was always ridiculed by the neighborhood kids. Oxum would leave Trueno and his fighting league. Oxum sees Armadillo sifting through trash and goes to a local store to buy him a sandwich. Oxum makes amends with Armadillo and apologizes for taking the title away from him. Armadillo tells Oxum that staying mad at all the people that beat him up is not worth the hassle and it would kill him. He also tells Oxum that he doesn't have much, but he is grateful that he's alive, and that's something. Armadillo would return to villainy and gets locked up in the Raft Super Prison. Armadillo would team up with Constrictor and Jack-o'-lantern as they try to rob an armored truck in Manhattan. The villain trio is easily defeated by Hercules, and Armadillo surrenders after seeing what the Prince of Power did to Constrictor's face. Power. Armadillo would receive some upgrades from the broker, who was actually the former CEO of Damage Control, Walter D. Cluen. Armadillo would be part of the broker's army, which included other villains like Porcupine, Mandroid, Carolyn Trainer, Hydro Man and Absorbing Man. Porcupine and his fellow teammates would come into conflict with Shuri, Namor, and members of the Fantastic Four when they invaded the broker's island deep inside the South Pacific. Dark Reign. Armadillo was recruited by the Hood to join his gang and was in conflict with the New Avengers on several occasions. The Hood and numerous members of his gang were incarcerated after Norman Osborn is arrested and no longer the Director of National Security. Jackpot. Armadillo is later seen as a bodyguard for the New Rose. Armadillo comes into conflict with Jackpot and Spider-Man when they try to infiltrate the Rose's penthouse. Armadillo throws Jackpot through a window and prevents Spider-Man from saving her. Doom War. Armadillo resurfaces as one of the broker's mercenaries after Dr. Doom steals all the vibranium from Wakanda. Walter D. Cluen, aka the Broker, is Doom's chief operative and has a number of his upgraded henchmen defend the vibranium that is hidden in the Palenque ruins in Mexico. Armadillo, Porcupine, and the Absorbing Man engage with the Thing, Invisible Woman and the Human Torch when they come searching for the stolen vibranium in Mexico. Armadillo lays low in the city of Puebla, until one of the locals recognizes him and reports him to a local vigilante group. Hulk and She-Hulk arrive and join the melee. Eventually She-Hulk convinces Armadillo to stop fighting. She suggests he help out the people of the city before turning himself in. In return, she promises to act as his lawyer. He is later seen at a rodeo in Houston, drunk after his girlfriend left him after he left the Rangers. After battling the Scarlet Spider, his girlfriend realized he loved her all along and they got back together. Powers and abilities. Armadillo has superhuman strength and durability. He has a thick, armored plated hide that protects him from most conventional injury, enabling him to withstand the force of ballistic weaponry up to light anti-tank weapons without penetration. His skin can withstand brief exposure to flame, ice and acid without damage. Armadillo also has superhuman endurance, enabling him to exert himself at peak capacity for over an hour before fatigue begins to impair his performance. Despite his mass, he can move as quickly as a normal-size athletically inclined man. His claws are strong enough to rend gouges in cinder block and medium-density steel and is capable of digging a hole in the earth deep enough to fit his entire body in less than a minute. Armadillo is a formidable combatant, having been trained in wrestling and street fighting for a number of years. Armadillo has a move called the roadkill slammer, where he rolls himself into a ball and runs over his opponent.